Yeah, sorry everyone. I'm gonna get. I'll give everyone a couple minutes. I don't know what just happened. YouTube just I fixed my internet and YouTube killed my stream, and I didn't know if I was talking to anybody, and I couldn't see the chat, and then I refreshed the browser and it was gone. Um, but then I could see the chat, so like something got screwed up. So um, anyway, we will keep going because I think we're actually having some good conversations. Um, yeah, Tony, I'm probably going to be low res for a little bit because I just started this. Um, Everything. Can you guys hear me? Okay. Just want to check. I'm just trying to work out the kinks here. All right. Looks like we're getting back here. Thankfully, that was weird. Sorry, everyone. I was just saying YouTube just. I haven't done this before, and I'm using a different computer than what I usually use, and YouTube just cut it out and stopped the stream. So that sucks. Okay, so let's see. What do we got? Questions. Unbreakable 4K. Probably not. That probably would have come out when they did Glass. And if we didn't get it then, we're probably not going to get it. Why do people buy slipcovers for the same price of a Blu-ray? I don't know. Crazy people out there. I mean, I like slipcover as much as the next guy, but I'm certainly not going to pay $7 or $8 for one when I could buy the movie for $5. I'm back. It happens a lot on YouTube Live. Well, good to know. I'm glad it's not just me. We only have 60 people now, though, and we had 180. So that sucks because we had a good run there. But anyway, The Mask or Dumb and Dumber on 4K. That is Sophie's choice, man. I guess I'd go with The Mask. I don't know. I'd probably go with The Mask. Let's see. Best Buy selling. So this is interesting. Sean Taylor. Best Buy selling Disney steelbooks for like 4K steelbooks for $5 to $15. And I'll tell you why. It's because they're not very good. The resolution on most of those Marvel movies and most of the animated movies is 2K, and so they're just 2K upscales to 4K. And if you like collecting steelbooks, they're cool, and you get a 4K steelbook. But I haven't upgraded any of my Marvel movies. If when I go to buy a Marvel movie now, if it has a 4K, I'll buy the 4K instead of the Blu-ray. But I'm not going to upgrade from my Blu-ray to 4K because the Blu-rays are pretty damn good as it is. What's my favorite physical music format? I'm a vinyl guy. I don't have any CDs. I don't have any cassettes. Never really did. I stream music through Spotify, and I have vinyl records. And I actually have some vinyl records of like movie soundtracks. I know I have Jaws, the new Halloween, some cool stuff like that. I like to collect as well. Roadhouse on 4K, possible. Shelf Factory would have to do it, right? And they probably still have the rights to it, but they may not go back and redo a 4K disc. Am I going to get rad on 4K from Vinegar Syndrome? So Joe Martinez is going to kill me if I say no. I probably will get it. I've never actually seen it, to be honest. So it would be my first time watching it. Check out Radio Flyer on Blu-ray coming out soon. Magical realism, and Tom Hanks does the voiceover. So it must be an animated movie? I'm not sure. Corey, thank you. So Nightmare on Elm Street in 4K. Nightmare on Elm Street probably has the best chance. So Halloween's already out on 4K, but not the whole series. Nightmare on Elm Street probably has the best chance at 4K between that and Friday the 13th because of all the rights issues. But I could see that being a possibility. But there isn't anything happening right now on it. I don't have any news for you, unfortunately, but Nightmare on Elm Street's one of my favorites. Obviously, got my guy right back here, my boy Freddy, along with Halloween. But it would make for a great 4K disc. I hope they do it, but no news on that yet. The Patriots jersey. That's Malcolm Butler. He's the guy who had the interception against the Seahawks that won the Super Bowl oh God, it was like 6 years ago now. I'm getting old. Let's see. Men at Work on 4K, probably not. Demolition Man 4K, that's tough. That's probably, I could see that one maybe being a digital 4K, unfortunately. Am I going to see the new Dune in theaters? Dune is by Villeneuve, right? Or Villeneuve, or you guys always make fun of me for saying his name wrong. But I think he's doing it, Denis Villeneuve. Tell me how to say that. Either way, if he's doing it, then I'm there because I love all of his movies. Prisoners is one of my favorite movies of all time. It's in a top 5 for me. Absolutely love that movie. So yeah, I will probably, even though I know nothing about Dune, I'll probably go see it. But Gemini, do I still have the high sense? Oh, now it says my connection's unstable. Hold on, guys. I'm going to be right back. Let me fix something. I need to just change one thing. Yeah, let me do one thing. Okay, is that better? That should be better. Let's see. Am I back? No more buffering. Bad Boys for Life isn't good. I have no idea. I actually haven't seen it yet. Polar Express on 4K. That is, I am not sure. I haven't heard anything. It's animated, so it might not do the most for a 4K format. I don't know. That's a weird one. Oh, it only happens for a fraction of a second when I lag. That's probably going to happen because the room I'm in, I am really far away from the router, and this new computer I'm using is not hardwired, so I'm on Wi-Fi. The Wi-Fi is good all day from home in here, but it kind of has peaks and valleys. So sorry about that. Nick, thank you. Any early word on 4Ks of Drive or Eyes Wide Shut? Eyes Wide Shut, probably, because it's Kubrick and they're doing all his movies in 4K, but I haven't heard anything on Drive. That would be a cool one. That would be really cool to do in 4K, but I haven't heard anything on that yet. Psycho on 4K would be incredible. I'm really hoping they do that. And Jaws coming out in 4K is like, that's what I've been waiting for since I started collecting this format, is Jaws, and I'm super pumped that it's finally coming. Bambi live action. I haven't heard anything on that. The only live action I've heard for Disney recently was they're working on The Little Mermaid. They were casting that one, but I haven't heard anything about Bambi. Cody, I have seen Enemy. That's another one I really like. I've seen all of his movies. There isn't a movie he made that I haven't seen. But Enemy was really, really cool and super strange. You know what I'm talking about. What do I do for a living? Just YouTube? Absolutely not. I could not live in this house off of YouTube. YouTube's great. YouTube's a hobby though. Day-to-day living. I'm a marketing manager. I do digital marketing for a tool company. So that's sort of why I feel like I have a pretty good grasp on YouTube and Instagram and social media. It's literally what I do for a living. And then I just do that again on YouTube. So yeah, that's what I'm doing 8 to 5 every day. Luckily, because it's all digital, I can do it from home. And so haven't lost the job, haven't had anything happen there. So that's a good thing. Friday the 13th 4K. Good luck, Eric. I don't. There's too many rights issues. We can't even get the movies out on Blu-ray again. So we'll see what happens with that. Maybe when the new Friday the 13th reboot comes out that apparently like LeBron James owns now. There's some weird stuff, but that could happen. Goonies 4K in September. That is happening. There's steelbooks up now for purchase. You can grab the pre-order the steelbooks. So those are already out there. DC or Marvel? Hold on. Let me close this door. The dog's going nuts. All right, I'm back. Also, how's the lighting? Because on my screen, I look sort of dark, but I guess it's not that bad. Let me know if it's dark. It's not like you really need to see anything, but let's see. Abyss on 4K, that's already done. They just need to put it out there. Friday the 13th original coming as Steelbook. Yeah, Paramount sent me that. Well, they didn't send it to me. They sent me an email about it. And I asked them, why is this not a 4K Steelbook? And they didn't have a good answer for me. They basically said, because it's not. So I don't know if we're getting 4K on that anytime soon. Let's see. I'm white. Yes, I am. Tony Stark, very observant. How did you know? Conan the Barbarian on 4K. If you're talking about the original, probably not, but no news on it anyway. Dances with Wolves on 4K. I think is that a Fox one? Let's look it up. Dances with Wolves. Dances with Wolves is that's MGM. So I guess I don't know. That's a possibility, I guess. Training Day 4K. Training Day is a top 5 movie for me, so I am very hopeful that we'll get that. But no, I mean, no news on it, so we'll see what happens. Fingers crossed. Do I think 3D will make a comeback? No, unfortunately. When's the last time you saw a 3D TV for sale? Like, I guess it's possible if the technology gets better. If the technology gets better with 3D and they put it on more displays, but I don't know. It kind of came and went. Do I catalog my collection online? Yes, I'll show you. That's where I'm looking up all these movies when people ask me, whether I have, whether something's coming out in 4K, I look up who owns them. It's this is hard to see. Oh, this is terrible to see. Well, it's the My Movies app anyway. So you can't see it. Anyway, if you go to My Movies on the App Store, it's run by Blu-ray.com. So they have literally every movie, and you just go in there and you type in your movie on your phone and say add to your collection, and it keeps a running count of everything. So that's what I use. And I've been using it for 8 or 9 years. It's by far the best. Do I prefer DVD over 1080 streaming? No. Can't say that I do, but 1080 streaming is better than DVD in most cases. I can't argue that point. Joe, there is a new Friday the 13th collection that is coming out, but it's going to be on Blu-ray, so it's going to lower the price. The crazy stupid $300-$400 on eBay for the 110 that I actually have. It's not going to sell for that much anymore because it is getting a new Blu-ray release. DC or Marvel? I'm going DC, but not necessarily because of their movies. I just like the characters better. Nightmare on Elm Street 4K, we kind of already talked about. That's possible. Dune 4K. Dune is coming to 4K. The original Dune is coming to 4K, and it's coming at the end of this year to tie into the new movie. That's in my, if you watch my video about 2020 Blu-ray releases, that's in there. So you are getting a Dune 4K release, so that's kind of cool. Lord of the Rings on 4K, yes, that's coming out in October with the Hobbit movies. Why are movie buffs obsessed with the horror genre? It's a good question. I don't know if movie buffs are. I would say movie collectors are. And I think that's because horror movies are some of the more collectible. They have really cool artwork. We have really cool distributors like Scream Factory and Arrow Video and Vinegar Syndrome and Synapse and all these people that do a really cool job with horror movies. Even Criterion takes on a lot of horror movies. And so the genre just appeals to collectors. It usually has cool artwork. It's a particular genre for, and people really get into it versus how many people do you know that are like drama fans or like, oh, I'm a real comedy fan. Like everybody likes comedies, but are you a real comedy fan? People aren't going to have a bust of Austin Powers the way that they have Freddy Krueger and Michael Myers. There's just something about the horror genre. I don't know. It speaks to people and gets that anxiety going, gets you all fired up, gets the adrenaline going. That's why people love it. Oh, a lot of stuff coming in. Oh, I'm trying to keep up. Let's see. Do I have any original film reels? No. Nope. That is not a good use of space. If I started doing film reels, I think I'd be out in the streets pretty soon. Let's see. Any movie shot in 35 millimeter can be formatted for 6K. Josh, that's a good question. They could be. Most movies in 35 millimeter could be rendered up to 8K and beyond, but realistically, the amount of time and effort that would go into that, considering how physical media has been shrinking, I don't think it's ever going to happen. I think 4K is going to be the tops, but I could be wrong. Since I'm a horror fan, have I ever tried VR? No. I have never actually done VR at all in any capacity. I don't have like PlayStation VR or anything like that. I'd like to. I think it's super cool. I'd love to watch a horror movie in VR where you're just completely surrounded, or play some of the games. But I just don't have it. Haven't spent the money on it. I think the next thing I'm going to get, and my wife will kill me for it, but I'm going to try to get the Nintendo Switch. So that's probably the next thing I'm getting. So the beard, yeah, I'm not going to shave it. Have I ever considered shaving? No. I haven't shaved cleanly in 10 years. And I'm probably not going to do it anytime soon. And especially not right now. I'm growing a quarantine beard, so it's going to get worse. Hold on. My favorite actor, Denzel Washington. Denzel Washington is my favorite actor. Favorite actress? That's tough. Favorite actress. Um, I don't know. Maybe Toni Collette because I like Hereditary so much and she's been in so much good stuff lately. Um, Steelbook over slipcover, no, not for me. Um, I used to really be into the steelbooks, and if there's a really cool one, I'll still get it. But they get dinged up, and I always put them away in a separate location so they don't get dinged up, and then they never get on the shelf. So I've gone slipcovers. Let's see. Titanic 4K. Maybe it's James Cameron, right? So um, I'm sure it could happen. How much do I spend on movies in a month? It depends. Probably a couple $100 um, on a good month. Will DVD ever die off? If you've watched some of my videos and I put up the stats, people are still buying. Talk about a recent movie like when Joker came out, it was still selling 50% on DVD. 30%, 40% on Blu-ray, or even higher. It's like 60% DVD, 30% Blu-ray, 10% 4K. So like DVD still dominates, and there's a lot of people out there who collect physical media and don't care about Blu-ray or 4K. They just want to own the movie. And there's a lot of people who don't upgrade to, they're not going to buy a new Blu-ray player. They've had a DVD player for 20 years. That's what they're buying, even if they're watching on a 4K TV. So I think it's also expensive. It's an expensive hobby, and so I think DVD is going to last a while because it's a little more cost effective. What do I like better, Criterion or Arrow? That is tough. That's tough. I'd go with Arrow because I'm a horror guy, but Criterion's great. Like, don't knock Criterion. That's a tough choice, but I would go Arrow Video. Their catalog is more relevant to what I like, whereas Criterion, I have to really pick and choose. I wouldn't buy every Criterion by any means, but I'd be more inclined to buy all the Arrow Video stuff if I could. Lethal Weapon on 4K. I think that got a 4K digital. I could be wrong, but I think that went 4K digital, and that means we're not getting a disc, which sucks. My most wanted movie to get a 4K release. I kind of like Tarantino stuff is what I'm looking at. Criterion does have all the extras and it has all the booklets, but honestly, Arrow is getting much better, and the Arrow box sets are some of my favorite things in my collection. They do such a good job with those, and those have tons of extras, usually have a booklet and a poster. So in that case, they kind of beat up on Criterion. I hope the PS5 and Xbox Series X help 4K Blu-ray with stronger foothold. I think it will. I think it will because the same way that, I talked about this in a video, but the same way that the PlayStation won the format war for Blu-ray over HD DVD, HD DVD was dead in the water the minute PlayStation 3 came with a Blu-ray player and the HD DVD was an add-on attachment to an Xbox 360. They were done. So I think the same way that helped Blu-ray and helped make it popular, even though it took quite a few years. Like even myself, I did not buy my first Blu-ray until 2012. And so that was, 5 years after the PlayStation 3. I do think we could get there eventually. This is an interesting question, Jason. And again, like I said, there's a super chat option if you guys really want a question answered. I'm doing my best to answer them all, but you can always toss it up there. I don't know how that works at all, so I'm leaving it up to you guys, but I'm trying to pick and choose. But Jason says, how do you think the virus affected the physical media versus digital? Certainly hurt physical media sales, and I'm sure the idea behind buying them. I don't think it hurt physical media sales as much as you might think. I actually think that it may have helped them because more people are at home and they're looking for particular movies they can't find and they're buying them. I don't think there's a huge spike or anything, but the digital is the interesting thing about the digital is the fact that they're putting movies that were supposed to come out in theaters on digital right away. And wow, Jason, hello, thank you. That is awesome. Not even a question. Incredible. Thank you. But the digital stuff is like, I don't know. It's kind of crazy that they're putting Trolls out on digital when it was supposed to come out in theaters, and it made $20 million opening weekend, and they didn't have to do any marketing. They did marketing, but they didn't have to spend any money to send out, market in theaters and do a bunch of advertising and stand-ups and posters and, promotional stuff like that. They didn't have to do it, and it made $20 million just by hitting on a digital service. So, and no movie theater, took a cut. I'm sure that the digital streams took a cut, but it might be better than a theater. I don't know. So I don't think physical media is in trouble because of this. I think physical media will be fine. Who I think is in trouble is I think that the movie theaters are in trouble. AMC theaters, Regal Cinemas, Cinemark, those guys are in trouble. They can't close for this long and stay open. So that's kind of a yikes. Best 4K player video. I'm thinking about doing it, but I've got to buy some, and those are expensive. So we'll see what I do there. And thank you, Jason. Love the channel. Keep up the great work. I really appreciate it. That was super cool. That was an awesome donation. So thank you for that. Is the rule double the actual budget of a film because of marketing accurate? As a marketing guy, I would say yes. Think about, say a movie costs $50 million to produce. You're immediately going to want, you've got to make at least $100 million to make that movie worth it. And you're going to drop $50 million. Think about how much it probably costs for a kid's movie to get their toys and a Happy Meal, or for you to buy a commercial in prime time could cost you $1 million right there. Just one commercial. Running your trailer during a Super Bowl is going to run you $10 million, $12 million, maybe even more if you go longer. So I think that seriously, it's probably pretty true. Now, if you spend $250 million on a movie, are you going to spend $250 million on marketing? No, but it's a good chunk. It's a really good chunk. George Lucas non-Star Wars movies will get 4K releases. Didn't they? I'm confused by that question. Every Star Wars movie has a 4K release right now. Physical media has been in trouble for years. So here's the thing. Is it in trouble? It's not in trouble. I think people are exaggerating that. It's not in trouble. It's slowing down. But it's still, with DVDs and Blu-rays and 4K out there all selling, it's still a multi-billion dollar. I think it was like 14 or 15 billion dollars in sales last year for physical media. So streaming is certainly something, but you don't just kill a $15 billion industry off. It's not going anywhere. What are my views about Samsung not making Blu-ray and 4K players? I actually did a whole video on it. I honestly just think for Samsung, it's not worth their time. Think about all that Samsung makes: TVs, phones. Phones are probably their biggest business, but TVs are probably a close second. And I don't know. I think that it's just not. I don't think anyone's going to follow suit. And when the PS5 and the Xbox, whatever they're calling it, I forget, Series X, whatever it's called, the new Xbox, when those have 4K players, I mean, that's why Samsung pulled out. No one's gonna buy a standalone. If they're good players, nobody needs a standalone player. Um, LJH, thank you. Do you think Short Circuit 1 and 2 will get a 4K? Short Circuit in 1 and 2, no. I'd say they're too small a movie, um, unfortunately. But um, cool thing is, here's a guy I work with in my a YouTube guy that I know, and he's called. If you like Short Circuit, search NYC CNC on YouTube. He has a YouTube channel. He owns a machine shop. He's a machinist. I've worked with him in my day job. We do some stuff with him, and he's building the Johnny Five from Short Circuit on his channel from scratch. So if you like Short Circuit and you want to see something super cool, I'll give him a shout out. He's doing a whole series on literally building that in his shop, building a scale model. So go check that out for sure. It's NYC CNC. McGurk at the movies. Have you seen the Wilsonian Movie Museum? He's on YouTube out of Australia. I have seen his movie collection. His first video went like super viral. He has like 500,000 views on his first video. I don't have any videos myself that have 100,000 views. So this guy got 500,000 when he had like no subscribers, but it was because it was so incredible. I've honestly never seen a collection like that. He's got really cool stuff, and he doesn't put that many videos up. Obviously, he's a busy guy. He doesn't do YouTube, at the same path that everyone else does, at the same cadence, but he has really cool stuff. Oh, a lot of questions coming in, trying to keep up. Do I think region free is becoming more common? Here's an interesting thing that not a lot of people know. 4K discs are region free. So is it getting more common? Yes, just naturally, because 4K is region free. Every 4K disc is region free. So naturally, you're going to have more region free releases. Blu-ray, region-free Blu-rays, I think then will become more popular, packaged with the 4K, just for that same reason. It's easier to make one disc than it is to make a disc for America and make a disc for Japan and make a disc for this and all. You know what I mean? It's just easy. Japan and America are actually the same region, but you know what I mean. Did I get a chance to catch Hateful Eight on 70 millimeter? No, I wish. It was at the Somerville Theater, which is my awesome. Well, it's not local because it's in Boston and it's about 45 minutes away, but they were doing it. I just never got there. It's hard to get there. I would have loved to see that though. High quality TV recommendations. Funky Creature. If budget's no problem, then buy the OLEDs from LG. Wait and see what they come out with this year and read your reviews. I'm not a TV expert by any means. I just like what I like and I talk about them. But OLED is still the top notch. So that's the one to go with if you want to spend on a good TV. Definitely go with the OLED from LG. Why is Gravity and Atmos not making more prints? I'm not sure I understand that one. Gravity and Atmos. Do I think they'll ever package just a 4K disc and leave the Blu-ray out? They should, but they can charge more if they put a Blu-ray in it, and you don't have a choice, right? So they know that you don't need the Blu-ray, but if they stick it in there, they can charge you $5 more than what they need to charge you and make more money. And they're making Blu-rays anyway for individual Blu-ray releases, so they stick it in the 4K, charge an extra $5 more, and make their money. So probably not. They're probably. I mean, there are some that are just 4K releases. They're already out there, but they're few and far between. Let's see. What's my favorite 4K movie I own? My favorite 4K movie that I own. That's tough. 2001, A Space Odyssey is up there. Once I get Jaws, that's going to be up there. And Probably Suspiria, because I think that's so cool. Riku, thank you. Wow, awesome. They should do a James Cameron 4K movie collection. Keep up the great work with your channel. Thank you. Um, yeah, so a James Cameron 4K movie collection, I could see that happening, 100%. The James Cameron would have what? He'd have The Abyss. He could have, well, they've already done Terminator 2, but he could have Aliens, The Abyss, True Lies, Titanic, Avatar. I mean, there's a really good case to be made there for James Cameron to get his own collection. So I could definitely see that happening. I don't know if it will, because there's probably rights issues. I don't know who owns all the rights to all of his movies, but that would be a really cool idea, and I could see it happening because I know the transfers are out there. They've done 4K transfers; they just need to put them on disc. Still waiting for RoboCop 4K. That's a tough one. I don't know if you're going to get that. Speaking of, watch your 4K Predator. I have the Blu-ray of Predator. It looks solid in dark scenes. Is the EU version made differently? It's possible. I'm really not sure. I mean, different discs get shipped around the country. You may also have the 2008 Predator Blu-ray, which is different from the 2010 Predator Blu-ray. The 2008 is better than the 2010, but I didn't have it, so I was comparing to the 2010. True Lies 4K. I believe that True Lies 4K is done. I think it's done. It's been worked on. I've seen pictures of it, but I don't think it's anywhere near being on the disc yet. That's the only thing. Tarantino flicks in 4K are coming. I know Inglourious Bastards is coming this year, so when that comes, the rest of them should come. I would hope so. We'll see what happens. Disney probably owns all his stuff because he was a Fox guy. Tanner, if I think he was a Fox guy, that's what I was thinking. And if that's the case, then yes, Disney now owns the rights to all that stuff, which kind of sucks. Best catalog of films for any movie studios. It's probably a shootout between Paramount, Warner, and Columbia, which is now Sony. That's really, I would probably go with Paramount. Paramount has a really good catalog. And they have a lot of good horror too. So I think Paramount. What 4K TV set do I have? So I have a Hisense H8F. Just bought that recently. And that's a good one for Dolby Vision. It was a cheap Dolby Vision TV. And then my main TV in the living room now is a Samsung QLED, which is great. And I need to get a 4K player for it because my 4K player is up here now. So I got about, let's see, I'm gonna go for another 10, 15 minutes. So if you want your question answered, try to make it stand out. There's a lot of questions coming in right now. I'm going to go until about 7:15, 7:20, and then I'm going to hop off. I need to go upload the video of To Catch a Thief, so you guys will have something else to watch. But I did see somebody ask if I'll do this more often. I don't know. I think this went pretty well. I'll probably do it more often. Maybe I'll do it once a week or something. Once every couple of weeks, couple times a month. I don't know. I thought it went pretty well. I had a good time with this, and yeah, I could see me doing more of this. Let's see. Am I getting the Bruce Lee Criterions? I honestly, I don't know. I'd have to see a price on them. I probably will get them in a 50% off sale if I get them. I probably will get them, but I'll get them in a 50% off sale. Have I seen The Lighthouse? Watched it in theaters? Yeah. Lighthouse was awesome in that 4:3 aspect. That's really cool they did that. Do any Blu-rays outperform their 4K counterparts? This is an interesting question. There are a couple examples. I I won't give any away right now because you need to watch my video that's coming out soon. But that's actually not even 4K. But Pan's Labyrinth. So the Pan's Labyrinth Criterion Blu-ray is better than the 4K in my opinion. That's the one that stands out the most to me. I also think that the 4K of Gremlins, I just didn't like it. I don't know why I didn't like it, but I thought the Blu-ray looked better there. So there are a few. I wouldn't say a Blu-ray like it's better, but I just like the way it looks better. Like the quality is still lower, the resolution's lower, but sometimes they just don't do the HDR right, they don't do the color grading right, and it comes out looking crap. If you don't mind me asking, how do you afford all these 4K movies? Well, luckily I do get a good chunk for review, and the other ones I try to buy, on good deals. And I buy local and I buy used, and it is what it is. I have a good job, so I can't complain. And try to save money and be smart about it and not spend $30 on release day on 4K movies. I'll wait and get them for a good price for $10 or $15. Criterion has Bruce Lee for 87. Huh. That is interesting. Too much for me right now, but that means it might be like $70 on the 50% off sale. Have I seen any of Studio Canal's 4K? In the EU, they released Carpenter movies. I really want to, but they're super expensive to import and they're hard to get. But I've been talking to Studio Canal, and I think that we're probably gonna be able to work something out because I'm a huge John Carpenter guy, so I really want to see them. But we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens with that. There's other Second Sight is another studio in the UK that has 4Ks coming out for Dawn of the Dead, and I need to get my hands on that one as well. So just trying to work something out, but hopefully, yeah, I'll be able to do those at one point. So I got about, let's do another 5 minutes. If anyone wants their questions answered, make sure you pop them in the chat now. I've got a huge chat log, so I can't guarantee that I'm going to see your questions. We've got like a few hundred comments here. Oh God, at least a few hundred comments. So that's what a few of you have used, that super chat option, and that's what it's really good for. It stands out much easier on the screen. So if you really want a question answered, that's definitely the way to do it. Is Disney Plus 4K HDR a scam? No, but it's just not great. Do you think eventually there will be as many 4K movies as there are Blu-rays? No. Each time we go to a new format, you lose movies, right? So there's a bunch of movies on VHS that never made it to DVD. There's a bunch on DVD that never made it to Blu-ray, and there's a bunch on Blu-ray that will never make it to 4K. And each time you lose another chunk. So there'll never be more 4K discs than Blu-ray because the amount of new movies coming out that will be on 4K aren't going to add up to all the ones that are on Blu-ray that will never get a 4K release. So there's no chance. Every time you do a new format, you're going to get less and less and less titles on that format because it's new. I don't know why Underwater wasn't released on 4K. I mean, it was digitally, but they just decided against it. It was a Disney Fox thing. If it was Fox, it would have come out on 4K. And the minute Disney got their hands on it, they didn't want to spend the money on it. Lots of comments here. Do I think Warner Brothers will release Lethal Weapon, The Departed, and Training Day? I hope, but those are, I think The Departed probably, Training Day, I think all three of them probably at some point. And I think, again, give it a couple more years. 4K is still fairly new. 4K is still only, what, 2 or 3 years old, really. And wait till that PS5 and the new Xbox come out and they have a 4K player and all of a sudden it's available to everybody. Then you have to think about it as a studio, as a marketing guy. I'll talk to you about this. If you make a 4K disc, you need to sell that 4K disc to people with 4K players. So if there's 100,000 people with 4K players and 10 million people with Blu-ray players, you're not going to get as many 4K movies put out because your market's much smaller. Now when the PS5 and the Xbox comes out and all of a sudden you have 10 million people with 4K players, now you'll start to get more 4K discs because there's a bigger market for it. So it's just a matter of, you've got to increase the amount of players out there, and that's what the game consoles are going to do. And then I think you'll start to see more and more 4K Blu-ray hit the market. I think that there are some people, some studios who are sitting on movies like that until they have a better market for it. The Irishman ever get a 4K Blu-ray? I don't think so. It seems like Netflix now has a deal with Criterion, and Criterion's not doing 4K anytime soon. So unfortunately, I think that that is what it is, and you're not going to see that. And if you're going to spam the chat about Game of Thrones, I'm just going to remove you. So don't spam the chat. And this person's back about Pink Floyd, so they are spamming the chat. And they don't spam the chat, guys. I see your messages, and if you send them 15 times in a row, I'm just not going to answer them. So here's a good question. Home Alone 1 and 2 on 4K. I know for a fact that Home Alone has a 4K transfer, and I fear that it's going to go to Disney Plus so they can get the most out of it and give another marquee title to Disney Plus. I don't know if we're going to get a disc. That's what scares me. I know that the 4K is done on Home Alone, but I don't know if we're going to get a disc. Disney is such a wild card right now. It's crazy. I don't know what to do with them. They're a total wild card. They are not really supporting physical media that well, and when they do it, it's sometimes subpar. They're not even in the top 5 or maybe even the top 10 in terms of studios that I'd want to put out a good 4K release. So they kind of suck right now. All right, I'm going to give it 2 more minutes. I'm going to let some questions come in, and the super chats are going first. But while we wait, just want to say thank you for watching this. I can't believe there's 230 people on the stream. That's really cool, and it's been going up. I think I'll definitely do more of these. It's fun. I'm basically talking to myself, which is weird, but talking to people. And when there's no face-to-face interaction right now with anybody, even if you are talking to yourself into an internet chat, that is better than not seeing another human for, or I see other humans, but not having any social interaction for a month at a time. This is a good replacement for that. So hopefully you guys feel the same way. But I enjoyed doing this. I think I will do it again, 100%. Let's see. Let me pull a couple questions out. Who wants their questions answered? Let's see what we got. Jason D'Antonio, because you already donated a bunch, I'm going to jump to your question because I recognized your name. Easy Rider and Little Woman only 4K digitally. Yeah. So I made a video on that when that happened. I was actually I was staying in Florida for a wedding, and I got that news, and I was like, what the hell? And I made a quick 5-minute video on it. And I just couldn't believe they did that, especially for Easy Rider. Like, that's a well-known title. I thought that'd get a 4K physical. But unfortunately, they are going digitally more often, but the digital 4K is just not the same. It's just not the same. And I hate seeing it more and more. I've been seeing it more and more, and I don't like it. But it is what it is. Oh, there's a super chat. So we'll jump right there. Gen C Fox 2, thank you. Nightmare on Elm Street 4K. So, yeah, Nightmare on Elm Street. There's a good chance that comes out on 4K. We'll see what happens. I don't know if it's ever going to come out, but I think there's a better chance, like I said, of Nightmare on Elm Street than Friday the 13th. Obviously, we already have Halloween, but Nightmare on Elm Street is such a classic, and I do think that it will come out on 4K at some point. But we'll see what happens. It is what it is. I can't really control it, but there's no news on that. And I think if it does come out, this is another good question from Jason, but I think if it does come out, it's going to be just the first. I don't think that they'll do the whole series. Like they did Halloween on 4K, but you're not getting Halloween 2, Halloween 3. I think you'll probably just get the original Nightmare on Elm Street, and that would probably be it. And I think what would help that come out is if it had some sort of like, if a reboot happened, then you'd probably get the 4K. They like to tie in these 4K releases with like new movies coming out to theaters or like anniversaries, stuff like that. And so that's what typically ends up happening. That's why we're getting Jaws on the 45th anniversary. That's why we got 2001 on the 50th anniversary. They like to tie it into something special to call it a special edition. All right, so I'm going to go one more minute. Which question should I answer? A lot of questions here. Do I think Criterion will ever go 4K? Kind of addressed this a little bit, but no, I don't think so. I don't see them doing it because it's not their base. Their collector base wants to watch the movies and probably still buys a lot of DVDs because they just want to see the movie. And Criterion's the only one who releases some of these foreign films and things like that. And the other thing that points to it being a no is the fact that they're releasing Parasite in the Criterion Collection on Blu-ray, and Parasite's getting a 4K release at the same time separately. So like if Criterion was going to do 4K, that'd be the time to jump in, and they're not. So just doesn't like that happen. But I am going to sign off here. This was fun. This was cool. I would definitely do this again. So thanks everyone for watching and hanging out. I had a good time, and I will talk to you guys later. Stay tuned tonight for my To Catch a Thief video, because that's a really interesting one. And I'll be back soon. So have a good rest of your night, and make sure you spread the word. Let's get to that 50K subs. That's what we're going for at the end of the year. You guys can help me. Stay safe, everyone. Have a good night.